Are you looking for a good webcam when it comes to Logitech? Well, chances are likely you probably have stumbled on the C920 and the Brio 4K. Which one's going to be good? Well, there's a few pros and cons for each one of these, and we're going to cover that in today's video, so
stay tuned.
Hey, I'm Dale.
And I'm Walt.
This is Live Streaming Tech. If you want to learn all about live streaming online, be it on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and beyond, make sure that you hit that little subscribe button.
And click that bell notification to on.
That way you don't miss a single one of these videos. So I have had quite a bit of experience when it comes to using various webcams. Everything from my Mac's laptop to even some PC laptops. Those weren't so great. I've even used the webcam that's available on my iPhone and Android. But I'm going to tell you, nothing compares to the Logitech brand, in my opinion, when it comes to some of the webcams. But there's two of them that get brought up a lot these days, and that's the Logitech C920, which is kind of the old one. It's been around for a bit. And then there's a Logitech Brio. And even the channel Alpha Gaming, Harris Heller, even brings up the C920 as being affordable and a pretty good option. But how do they compare side to side?
All right, well, we're going to find out. And here's the thing, just, you know, I'm going to state it too. I'm a Logitech fanboy as well. We're not getting paid by Logitech by any means, unless you click those affiliate links down there in the description. But I started out with even the lesser model of the C920. So, and that thing only went up to 720p, and I don't even think it shot at 60 frames per second. I think I was maxed out at 30. But I definitely, my next upgrade was to the C920, and it was leaps and bounds. I mean, for the price point, it was actually quite awesome before I got the Brio.
Yeah, I think you said C920. What was the older model? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
C something
I'd have to pull it out and blow the dust off of it. I've been using Logitech cams back since when they had the old ball cams. So that's how big of a fanboy I am when it comes to Logitech. So let's get into the nitty-gritty on what the difference is between the two as far as when it comes to specs.
Okay, I can go ahead, and I'm going to take the one that I'm going to tell you ahead of time. The one that we're currently using right now to record this video is the Logitech Brio 4K. Now, a lot of you probably are wondering, well, this doesn't seem like it's 4K, Dale. Well, it's not, because it's only going to stream in 1080p, and it's only going to record in 1080p. It's not going to do it in 4K unless I upgrade some of my stuff here. But in any event, that's exactly where I'm at right now, and we're actually shooting this in 60 frames per second. Now, that is completely different when we start to go live. Now, tell them about the Logitech C920 though.
Okay, so the Logitech C920, the problem is when you're going that 1080p, you're only going to get that 30 frames per second versus the 60 frames per second. And even when you're at 720, you're doing the 60 frames per second versus the Logitech Brio at 720, 60 frames per second. There seems to be a difference in quality, especially when it comes to live streams. So I'm not saying that the 920 can't do the 60 frames per second with the 720. It's just there seems to be a noticeable difference between the two.
Right, yeah, so why don't we go ahead, let's switch it on over so that way you can kind of compare apples to apples, oranges to oranges here. So now we've switched on over. You can see on the top left corner here is going to be the Brio, and the bottom right corner is the C920. I did, admittedly, I got a little lazy on this, man. I didn't feel like tweaking a lot of these settings. Now, keep in mind, folks, you can really dial in these settings before you go live through your dashboard if you're using OBS or Streamlabs OBS or even XSplit, any one of these things. You can also add in filters. I mean, how hard is the filters to do?
The filters aren't really hard at all. It's really kind of, you just click on it there and just go through your filters. Play around with it in OBS, whether it be Streamlabs OBS, Stream Elements OBS. I mean, there's so many different versions of OBS out there now, but I know the OBS Studio, I still use that, and the filters are quite easy to use.
If you're watching this right now too, and I want to kind of hear what your thoughts are. What do you think is going to be the better quality? Do you like the Brio up here, or do you like the actual C920 down here?
Now remember, I brought this up earlier, is that the C920 is it's in 1080p right now, and the difference between it is the frame rate. So the Logitech Brio is in 1080p at 60 frames per second, where we could only get it up to the 30 frames per second.
30 frames.
So once again, we're trying to compare apples to apples, but it kind of turns into apples to oranges, or apple orange, whatever you want to call it. When it's comparing the two. And like Dale said, you really can dial in the C920, but for speed purposes, we record a bunch of videos all in one day. He just kind of threw up the comparisons on each one of those. And who was the one that really dialed in that C920? Might as well shout him out again.
It was Harris Heller of Alpha Gaming.
Alpha Gaming.
Fantastic channel too.
Great channel. Yep.
We'll leave a link to that in the description down below. Let's go back over here to the regular camera. So now what it comes down to is, what's your budget? So if you aren't dealing with a very high budget and you're just, say, starting out, I almost always recommend the Logitech C920. It's simple to set up, it's easy to use, it's fairly intuitive, and in fact, actually for both of these, there's new software. It's called Logitech Capture. So when you purchase your Logitech product, go to their website, download the software, and you can actually tweak all the settings within there, or you can even tweak the settings within your OBS dashboard and get it all dialed in the way that you want. I like Logitech Capture for the fact that I can actually put these two cameras side by side in the actual dash for that and start to dial it in. That way I can make a good fair comparison. Now with the Logitech Brio 4K though, folks, you can still use the Logitech Capture. It's going to come at a higher price point. So you're looking at Logitech C920. You looked up the retail amount was
As
what?
of today, the recording of this video, the price point that I found was anywhere between $50 to $60.
Yeah.
60 being the pretty much, if you're looking shopping, say on Amazon or Walmart.com, you're going to be paying that $59.99 or somewhere around there.
Yeah, the Logitech Brio is going to come out at a little bit higher of a price point. And I got to say, I'm kind of salty about it because over a year ago, I bought mine for a couple $100, and now it's at what?
Between $160 and $180.
Yeah,
is where it's falling in there.
It's way cheaper, and I'd recommend keep an eye on Black Friday deals, because I know last year the C920 was being sold at the Micro Center nearest us. It was being sold for $49.
Yeah, so like check your Best Buy or check your local electronics store, because I know a lot of you probably put in the comments, what is Micro Center? I don't have one down the road from me. So keep your ear to the ground for both cameras, whether it be the C920, because the C920, you've used it as a backup camera before when the Logitech Brio was doing some freezing issues, which we also have a video for that. And if you click that right up there, up that way, yeah, then we'll talk about that, those issues on the Logitech Brio.